I'm thinking like a soldier.
Think like a leader.
Andor Season 2 is less than a week away now, and as we count down the days, my excitement for this show's return gets higher. And I'm so glad that I'm able to say that, because it has been a long time since I've genuinely looked forward to a Star Wars project. Considering just how shockingly great Season 1 was, with the crew making Season 2 being mostly the same, and with the trailers looking phenomenal, I think it's safe to say that we may very well have something great on the horizon. Just based off the small amount of footage we've seen from the trailers, we are able to pick out a lot. The sets and locations once again look fantastic, and are head and shoulders above anything seen in the other shows. The costuming looks great. That's one thing I've personally been very critical of as of recent. It almost seems like the costumes seen in other Star Wars shows are poor attempts at cosplay, not something that you'd see in a show costing hundreds of millions of dollars. But thankfully, that doesn't seem to be the case here. Also, the action set pieces from the small bits that we've gotten also appear to be very strong. The action overall was something that Andor Season 1 did very well. It was a night and day difference when compared to everything else Star Wars on Disney+. It felt realistic, it was well thought out, and it actually looked good. Whereas in the other shows, it's mostly dumbed down to a bunch of idiots running around with laser guns and lightsabers with logical errors littered throughout. However, although the trailers for Season 2 do look promising, at the end of the day, story is king. And it's always hard to tell what the writing will entail just based off the trailers alone, but of what we've seen, it really seems like our characters are going to be tested and taken to new places, which will inevitably decide the fate of the galaxy. Cassian will certainly be tested as he tries to lay the foundations for a sustainable rebellion and war effort against the Empire. Mon Mothma to places where she's going to feel like she has the weight of the entire galaxy at her shoulders. And of course, there's always going to be the question of what will the fates be of the characters that we don't see in Rogue One. I'm really interested to see how Luthen is going to play into everything. He's the type of character that could easily sacrifice himself for the greater good and never have his efforts mentioned again. His secret operative double life that he lived in Season 1 was easily one of the most interesting aspects of the show, and I'm curious to see how they're going to expand upon that in Season 2. It also appears that Bix is going to have a major part to play, not only in the fight against the Empire, but also in the development of Cassian's character on a personal level. It was teased back in Season 1 that the two had a romantic history, and it seems like they're going to explore that more here in Season 2. Considering that Bix is not seen in Rogue One, I think it is likely that she will die by the season's end. And assuming that Bix and Cassian do get romantically involved again, it could add a great deal to Cassian's struggles on a personal level, and is something that could really give an added weight to his character and his motivations when we see him in Rogue One. I'm also very confident that the overall writing quality from Season 1 will carry over to Season 2. It was shocking just how much better and more intelligent the story was in Andor compared to every other project produced by Disney. It wasn't even close, it was in a total league of its own. The writers from Season 2 are the same as they were in Season 1, and with Tony Gilroy at the head, I'm sure that they'll come up with another mature and intelligent story. As of right now, all signs are leading towards Andor Season 2 being a success. However, that doesn't mean I don't have my worries. And I wouldn't say that these are things that I'm very worried about, more so things that I have minor concerns for. Things that I think if aren't done very well could diminish the overall quality of Season 2. As some of you may know, Andor was originally supposed to be 5 seasons if I'm correct. I'm not certain on that, but I have seen multiple sources say that Andor was originally slated for a total of 5 seasons. But obviously it has been shortened down to 2, due to this being marketed as the final season. Now, because of that change, all of those story plans have been condensed down into one final season. Now, Tony Gilroy has stated in interviews that he's fine with that, and they've gotten to tell the story exactly how they wanted to. But I really think he's just saying that so people don't panic. Cause if you had the option to make 5 seasons of Andor, are you really trying to tell me you wouldn't take it? Because Season 2 has been condensed into what was supposed to be 4 seasons, it's going to take place over the course of 4 years, which most certainly has the potential to feel very rushed. Now, I will say that the runtimes for each of the episodes have recently been released, and thankfully we don't have any just 30-minute episodes like you'd see in Mando. I think the shortest episode is going to be 42 minutes, with the longest one being 58, so every episode falls somewhere in that range. Now, since Season 2 will be told in 4 story arcs, 3 episodes each, if you add the episodes up, then each story arc is going to easily be the length of a feature film, which is obviously enough time to tell a cohesive story before time jumps to the next arc. The thing that I'm concerned about is because it takes place over such a long period of time, is the connective tissue between all the arcs going to feel cohesive and not just glossed over? If I had one big criticism of Andor Season 1, that would be it. While all the individual story arcs were strong, the connective tissue between them all was pretty weak. After the Aldhani heist, within no time he's just gotten arrested in a very stupid and corny fashion. After he breaks out of prison, the show is in a rush to get him back to Ferrix, so he just conveniently finds a ride home from these two things. And Season 1 took place over the course of 1 year. Season 2 takes place over 4. So they really are going to have to pay close attention and can't be sloppy with how they connect all these arcs, or else it's going to be very noticeable. Also, will there be an overarching story across all of the story arcs that makes it feel like it all belongs in the same season? Since Season 2 is taking place over 4 years, it's going to be hard to tell a connective, cohesive story. It's certainly not impossible, of course. The original trilogy takes place over about 4 or 5 years, and the prequels take place over 13, but the longer time frame I think will make it harder on the writers. Another thing that I am a little concerned about is just exactly how they're going to include Krennic in the narrative. Now, Lucasfilm has had a tendency in the past to just throw cameos in just as a means of attracting eyes to the show. Now, I'm not worried about that here. This isn't the Filoni and Favreau team after all. This is Gilroy's project, and I'm confident that Krennic will be an integral part to the narrative and most certainly have a reason for being in the story. In fact, it actually makes perfect sense why he'd be introduced at this part in the timeline, considering that he's the main villain of Rogue One, and as we saw in the after credit scene back in Season 1, the Death Star is nearing its completion. But what has me worried with Krennic is it's certainly possible that he could just overshadow or just straight up replace Dedra's part in the story. Just taking a look at the poster for Season 2, Krennic is above Dedra, while Dedra is much smaller at the bottom, implying that he's going to be the main villain. Now, I'm certainly fine with Krennic being in this story, but I hope that he is a well thought out and natural inclusion, instead of just being shoehorned in there just because he's the Rogue One guy. Dedra's character development back in Season 1 was very strong. The groundwork has been laid for a major payoff in Season 2. Dedra's major part in the story of Season 1 was that she was the first one to start to catch on to the rebels, and she was the one that was really leading the operation initially to snuff them out. But if Krennic just comes in there and just takes over Dedra's spot in the story of being the main man hunting down the rebels, and Dedra's just sidelined, I don't think I'm gonna like it very much. Now obviously, if it's written well, it's written well. Only time will tell. And if it is written well, then I will obviously praise it. I'm just saying that it's a slippery slope that they could go down, which would mean the detriment of a well set up character journey for Dedra. But although those couple of things do have me a little concerned, I want to make it clear that I am very optimistic for Season 2. I really think that it has the potential to best Season 1, and become something truly special that could be seen as one of the best Star Wars projects ever created. The people behind this show have a clear passion for intelligently written filmmaking, and a clear love for the Star Wars universe, trying to create something that is a positive expansion on the galaxy that George Lucas created. And in less than a week's time, the wait is finally over, and we'll finally get to be the judges of what they've created. But with all of that said, that's going to wrap it up for today. If you guys have any thoughts of your own about Andor Season 2 before it comes out, whether you're optimistic, you're worried, somewhere in between, let me know in the comments below, because I'll be interested to hear your guys' thoughts. Also, if you liked the video and want to see more stuff like this, then leave a like and hit that subscribe button. It helps out the channel a lot. But anyways, that's all I got for today. I'll see you guys in the next one.